The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standard-bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by Eldorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday. First post time, 6:15. Now, here's your host, OHHA brand ambassador, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We're at the Winter Circle Training Center south of Columbus for today's Freshman Focus broadcast. And we'll start things off with trainer Sandy Beatty. Sandy, in harness racing, I know your dad was involved in harness racing. Does harness racing go further back in the family tree?
My grandfather, my mother's father, he owned and raced horses in the late 50s. And so it's another generation back.
Mm-hmm. Was there ever a question what Sandy Beatty would do for life's vocation?
No, not really. There was a question with my mom, but not with me, I guess. I told her when I got out of high school I'd like to take a year off before I went to college, and
never made it
to college. Yeah. So.
How many horses do you have in your stable this season?
Got 21 right now.
And how many of those would be 2-year-olds?
12.
12. We're going to take a closer look at your Ohio breds. What's the determining factor of who gets to your stable?
Well, we focus mainly on trotters anymore. We have some homebreds, but we purchased a few also. We are more, of course, most all of them are hybrids. Mm-hmm. So just anything that we think's competitive, sire stakes, Buckeye Stallion stakes, county fairs.
The ones we're going to take a look at are 2 creatines, Wishing Stone, and a Pet Rock. 3-1 trotters versus pacers.
No, we only have 2 pacers.
2
total.
You're almost like
all
Chris Beaver operation.
It's what they give me, so it's what we train.
The 4 that we're going to check out today, were they purchases at sales or were they homebreds?
Doo-Wop Kid was a homebred. JL Shining Star is a homebred. The other 2 fillies were purchased.
Have you had much success with homebreds?
Well, I think, yes, we have. Some of the better trotters I've trained have been homebreds. Mm-hmm. It depends on the mare. Mm-hmm. You know, if you've got a good mare, they're all homebreds. It's just some of them go through the sale.
When you're speaking of homebreds, are these ones that you've actually raised?
I raised JL Shining Star. The other colt, Doo-Wop Kid, was raised somewhere else.
Now, do you put a lot of attention to them even before you throw the harness on?
We do. I mean, we have them at home, the yearlings, and in the summertime it's hard to put a lot of attention to them because we're doing so many other things. But we try to get them to where we can handle them, and I don't baby them. I mean, I let them be horses growing up. I don't think that if you're handling them day in, day out, it's a good thing for a young horse. When
do you get to the process where you start to put the harness on them?
We started in mid-October.
Mid-October. Do you have a set schedule that you use, or do you let the horses determine that schedule?
I let the horse determine. You have a schedule that you would like to meet to get to the races on time and to be ready when the stakes start. But I've just never been able to sit down and have 10 colts and say we're going to do this, this, and this every week and have it happen.
Yeah.
I just think you have to train the horse more than the schedule.
Are you basically pleased with your 2-year-olds?
Yes, for the most part, but it seems like training 2-year-olds, one day they're really good and a couple days later they're not as good. So, but as a group, this group's been pretty consistent, and we've had issues with some of them, but you're going to have with that many.
Do you know early on what you have, or is it waiting to see what you got after you qualify them?
You have an opinion, and you like to think you know, but it seems like there's always one that disappoints you, and then there's always one that surprises you.
You know, in the series, we've had some trainer drivers, Jeff Neishonger, Rosie Weaver, Kent Sherman, so to speak. But Sandy Beatty, a trainer driver, are you part of that dying breed in harness racing?
Yeah, that's for sure. Everybody's going to the catch drivers, and I think with trotters it helps if you know the horse. I think, and most of the people that I have, or all the people that I have for owners, still want me to drive, so that's a plus. But I think with a young trotter, it makes a difference to know the horse and not just put, maybe not just the same person every time, but when you start putting a different person behind a horse every time they go to the gate, you know, if you don't have the best horse, you're not going to get the best catch drivers.
From what I've seen, though, Sandy Beatty's very comfortable out there driving.
Well, I mean, I grew up in it. Probably the most comfortable place on earth for me is in a race bike. Probably.
No back problems?
We all have back problems. You know, it's just as you get older, it takes its toll a little bit. But I've been fortunate enough. I've been hurt a few times and broke up a few times, but I'm relatively healthy for my age. I mean,
I did notice you're definitely more of a sit-up driver.
Too old to lay back. I can't lay back. Let them fall out.
I'd like to thank Sandy Beatty for sitting down with us for a few minutes. We're now going to head into the barn and take a closer look at some of his 2-year-olds in training here at the Winter Circle Training Center. We're back here in the stable of Sandy Beatty. And Sandy, this is a 2-year-old filly by Creatine, Forever Autumn. How's she been?
Well, she was doing real well early, and the last couple weeks we've kind of hit a little bit of a snag with her. She's had some colt soreness. We've had to back off. This kind of goes back to your question about training on a schedule. She's kind of had us, she's made us ease up on her a little bit and give her a little bit of time here lately. This acts like a very talented filly. She's trained really comfortable when she was good, and so we're kind of in the process of letting her come back to herself.
Do most 2-year-olds have little problems like that, though?
I would say just all of them have problems. Some of them handle them better than others. The fillies, the trotting fillies especially, seems like sometimes you can lose them mentally. So, you know, if you keep pushing and pushing with one that's sore or got some issues, usually it goes the wrong direction.
Do you think it has anything to do with the trotting gait?
I think it has more to do with the fillies.
The fillies.
Yeah.
There's so many lines I could use right now, but we won't. Is she with the others ready to qualify?
No, she's not quite ready to qualify. Right now she's a couple weeks behind the others. She had been with the others right along. If we can get her back mentally into it, I think that it's not going to take long for her to catch up. She has a lot of talent.
Is she eligible to everything?
Yes. Yes.
Good luck to you on Forever Autumn. This is another Creatine filly, OB a Sassy Frassy. Is she kind of sassy out on the track?
She's not. She's very laid back, completely the opposite of the other Creatine filly. Just nothing bothers her. Everything's come to her pretty easy. She hasn't been any problem doing anything you wanted her to do. Just filly acts like she's got a lot of class.
Just the opposite of Forever Autumn, because this one's a much bigger filly.
Yeah, she's quite a bit bigger, and her mentally she's just the other filly's a little nervous and wants to be a little bully sometimes. This filly's more laid back, and you know, they're the same sire, but they're completely opposite fillies.
So that goes back maybe to the mare.
To the mare, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what's her schedule been? How much
she's she's within about 2 really good trainings qualifying. We're shooting for the 21st is our plan with her, which is in 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So she's about ready, and hopefully the sire stakes if she qualifies good enough. And
has she been one that does what you want them to do rather than
probably any horse in the barn? This filly has just been 1, 2, 3, 4 right along. Everything's been easy for her. She's got a nice attitude about everything she does, and she's just hasn't been any problem yet.
Is that kind of a rarity nowadays?
It is. It seems like there's always something crops up with them that gives you issues or gives you problems with them. But
OB, a Sassy Frassy. This is your pet rock filly, JL Shining Star, and nice looking filly.
Yeah, she's. We raised this filly. We raced her mother for quite a few years. She was a really good horse for us. JL's Red Star was her name, and
Have you had many pet rocks?
this is the first. Well, no, we had a colt out of JL that, as a 3-year-old, injured a hind ankle, and we didn't get him raced. And then this filly is the second foal.
Any similarities with the pet rocks?
Oh, of the two?
Yeah.
No, same mare, out of the same mare, but no similarities. This filly's more refined and slick and good gaited, and the other colt was kind of heavy boned and hard on himself.
I'm not an expert on conformation or anything, but is she kind of a narrow filly?
A little bit. She's a little bit narrow in her chest,
Yeah.
but she travels straight, breaks over good on her with her front feet, doesn't go towards her knee or anything. And she's been really fluid all along.
So a filly can be narrow and still not hit the knees or anything like
Right, as long as they fold up their front feet.
That. How much have you been with her?
2-3.
2-3. She's ready to go.
Yes, we're shooting for probably the 21st with her also. We're going to train her one more time fast for sure.
Now, will you drive her?
I probably will, yeah. I haven't drove many Pacers lately, but I'll probably drive her to begin with anyway.
This is going to be something new, so to speak, folks.
Yeah.
Sandy Beatty driving a Pacer. This is Duwat Kid, a gelding by Wishing Stone. And since this one is a gelding, I'm guessing this hasn't been an easy one to get along with.
No, this colt was trained in Georgia for most of the winter. Just came up about a month ago. And they had issues with him down there, I'm sure, when they first started with him, and they castrated him. He's just, a lot of the Wishing Stones are a little hot-headed, high-spirited, and he fits right in. On the racetrack, he's just a natural talent. Just floats over ground. He's been in 2-4 also.
So it's not a problem on the racetrack, but it's in the barn.
He's perfect in the stall. It's getting him hooked. For some reason, I know when Clarence sent him up, Clarence Martin got him ready for the winter in Hawkinsville, and when he sent him up, he said they had trouble all winter hooking him. And when we bring him out, it takes 3 of us to hook him. We have to walk him up and down the aisle a little bit. He doesn't want to stand. Some days he's better than others. Some days he's just stops and we hook him and he goes. Other days he's on his hind feet. And but once you get him hooked and get him to the track, he's better.
Is this a rarity, or did something maybe happen in the early days when they broke this?
It's hard to say. He didn't say, but I would say something probably went wrong one day. Sometimes one day is all it takes. And but you just have to be patient and work with him and not. What we try not to do is put him in a spot to get himself in trouble. We had to make sure the aisleway's clear, nobody's coming in or out, that kind of thing. They had to hook him outside down there, which probably didn't help their cause. So they would hook him up against the barn and then turn him loose and go. Well, we try to hook him back in the barn so that he walks a little bit before he goes out.
But on the racetrack, he's totally different.
Yeah, he's a little high strung on the racetrack too. I've been training with those pacing fillies because they can go enough to stay in front of him, whereas a couple of the other trotters can't, and then he would get in trouble because if you had to double him up or take too much hold of him, he'd throw his head up and want to make a break. But as long as you're not in his mouth and he's moving forward comfortable, he's really, really athletic.
How much have you been with him?
2-4.
2-4?
Yeah.
He's ready to qualify too?
Physically.
Yeah.
I don't know about mentally, but physically he's ready. But it'll be the same thing. We'll probably go up on the 21st. We're trying to keep him. I'm trying to keep everything happening in front of him.
Yeah.
Not let him be out in front of horses or in between horses, and just try to get him around a few times without him blowing up.
You might know with a name like Duwat Kid, there might be some problems.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. You just have to work with it and try to get him through it without anything going wrong.
If people only knew what trainers have to go through to get them to the races.
Some horses,
Some of them just going to be that way. So,
but just like here, he's just as nice as can be to work on, and no issues with him. It's just getting him out of the barn.
Good luck to Sandy Beatty and Duwat Kid. Well, thanks, Sandy, for being with us on Freshman Focus. We're going to now travel to the other end of the barn and talk with trainer Scott Mogan after these messages.
Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First post time is at 6:15. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with the $150,000 Next Generation on July 2nd and 3rd. On the 2nd, it's the 2-year-old Trotters, followed by the Pacers on the 3rd. Horse players earn points with the new Caesars Reward Program. Eldorado Scioto Downs, live racing is back.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus. We're with trainer Scott Mogan here at the training center. And Scott, you are heavily involved in racing, and want to start out with congratulating you with Gold Digger King. He fought 3 in a row at Scioto.
Yeah, Roger, thanks a lot. He's turned into a nice open pacer for us. I've had him since he's a yearling. He's gotten a little better each year, and yeah, he won 5 out of 6 the last couple down at Miami Valley, and then come into Scioto strong and ready to go, and 3 straight victories there in the open.
A win like that just speaks volumes of how good he is.
Yeah, and he beat a couple nice horses. I mean, of course, the open pacer are always nice horses, but we had Black Hole in there, and we had Century Pharaoh, and won the Breeders' Championship or Breeders' Crown last year. So it was pretty impressive, when he went up against those 2 horses and did what he did.
How long has Scott Mogan been involved in racing?
Oh, I'd say about 47 years, since I was 15.
Who'd you get your start with, working with?
I originally started in the business with Jim Pollock Sr., my brother-in-law. Was married to my sister, my older sister, my only sister. But yeah, I started working for him in the summertime when I was 15, and fell in love with it, and ended up making a career out of it.
You've been known to drive, but do you drive anymore?
Mainly training. I'll maybe qualify my babies. If I can't get who I prefer to sit behind them the first time or two. And the same way, maybe at a county fair, if there's certain people aren't there, or a driver, I'll drive a few there, but very rarely.
Just how large is the Scott Mogan operation?
Well, as you see, we got the whole section of the barn here. I have 18 in training right now, and my son Zach has 6 of his own, so we're pretty busy.
How many of those are 2-year-olds?
I have 11 of my 18 are 2-year-olds, so I'm pretty much mainly 2-year-olds. Zach has 2 2-year-olds that he's training, and the other 4 racehorses. Yeah.
The 11 2-year-olds, is that kind of a good number for your stable?
Yeah, it's usually a number somewhere between 8 and 10. So yeah, that's a little above average or right at average of what I have, and yeah, it's a good number, yeah.
Are they all Ohio breds?
They are not. I've got 2, well, I shouldn't say I've got a Huntsville filly that I'm training for Steve Jones. It's going to qualify in a week or so here, and then she'll go back to New York. And yeah, I guess the rest of them are Ohio hired, yeah.
Did you purchase them all, or do your owners send you horses?
A couple homebreds. The Soferino colt is a homebred, belongs to Carol Kramer, raised out of a mare named I Like Purple that I broke and trained. She won the consolation of the 3-year-old filly trot sire stakes a few years back. The rest of them, there's been a couple sent to me that trained down south this winter, and the others were all purchased at the sales.
Talk about going to the sale. Do you purchase most of the 2-year-olds?
I did, yeah. Everyone I've got, I was purchased along with owners. They have some input also. Go to the sales with me. Most of them were bought here at the Scioto. I shouldn't be the Scioto sale. The Jug sale was held in Circleville this year, and then the What the Hill colt that I have, he was purchased at Lexington.
What's the process in determining who you're going to take a serious look at?
I get a catalog and study it as much as possible, and then I start the ones I like on paper. I usually go around to several of the farms, the larger farms, the ones that got the main consignments that I'm going to look at a lot of horses of, so I don't have to try to get it all done one day at the sale. Then the ones I like confirmation-wise and stuff, then I'll go home that evening and I'll watch their videos.
Do you purchase these horses for others, or are they for you?
I put groups together. Most of the horses, the 2-year-olds that I have, are in partnerships with 3 to 4 partners.
And that's how it kind of went with my owners, especially that used to want to buy one or yearling or 2 yearling. They'd rather purchase, you know, a quarter of 3 or 4 or half of a couple, and give them a little more chance.
Are you a hands-on trainer as far as breaking the yearlings, or you send them out?
No, I break them all. And that's one of my favorite times. I love breaking yearlings. I enjoy it. Yeah, I break them right here, and right after I get back from Lexington, turn them out for a couple weeks after the sales. They've been in and out the stalls, handled, and I turn them out for a couple weeks as soon as I get back from Lexington, and we get them in here and gather them up and start breaking.
Roughly how long does that process take?
It's a lot simpler than it used to be. I mean, when you did have the homebreds that were never handled, these things are handled so much and worked with as yearlings. If you buy them from the sales, it makes a big difference. They come along a lot quicker.
Have you been pretty fortunate that when you finally put the harness on, they're what you want to be?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you know, sometimes they will. You know, you'll have ones that are a little wild, you know, starting out, but others, you know, pretty natural. You know, the gait's so much natural anymore from years ago when you had to work with, especially the pacers, to get them gaited and stuff. So, yeah, but yeah, you always get a colt or two you like on the video and stuff, and then you get behind him and it doesn't seem to be as good as he looked in the video.
Do you have a preference, trotters or pacers?
I'm about half and half. I'd enjoy trotters. I enjoy trotters more. Yeah, they're a little more, you know. Patience. You better have some patience with them. They can try you.
The trotter can.
Yeah.
But if you get a good trotter.
Yeah, you get a good, nice, solid trotter that you know, stay trotting and got some talent and some speed. You know, you'll make some money.
Are your 2-year-olds where you want them to be now?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you always try to set a schedule, stick to it, but it doesn't always happen. You know, weather, conditions. But I treat each horse differently. A few of the horses you saw that you videoed today are a little behind the ones that are ready to qualify. They've had some issues, or might be, you know, if I don't think a horse is, you know, I just don't automatically try to drop them if I don't feel they're ready to drop.
Do you try to sit behind all of them, or do you have other people helping you?
My son helps me, Zach, and Ryan Holton rides for me, so we try to go in sets with them. But I'm either, and I rotate around on the ones that I try to sit behind each one as many as possible. But and I usually sit behind the trouble, the ones I'm having trouble with. I like to stay behind. But if I'm not behind them, I'm usually out there with them on another horse.
Thank you, Scott, for giving us a few minutes to sit down and talk with us. We're going to head into the barn now and take a look at the ones we saw out on the track today. Here at the Scott Mogan stable, here at the Winter Circle Training Center. This is Solferino, Uncle Peter gelding. Are you one of those trainers that kind of likes to geld them instead of dealing with studs out there?
Yes, I am. I mean, I geld most of my colts. I just think, especially trotters, they tend to their business, keep their mind on their business more. And I always say, like, when you get to shipping around, you know, you don't have to worry about getting in next to a filly, or if you have to ship a couple fillies with a stud, stuff like that. And come time to find a place to turn them out in the fall. A lot of farms don't want colts, you know. So yeah, but I'm just a big believer, mainly because I think they just pay more attention to their work.
Is he rather small?
He's on the small to medium size, but his mother was too. She was she might have been just a little taller than him. Like I said, she won the 3-year-old Constellation Sire Stakes. I like purple, so this is her first foal. He's a little behind schedule. Has a few issues with him, some balancing issues and stuff, but I think he's going to come around. I'm just kind of giving him a little extra time.
Carol Kramer.
Carol Kramer, yeah, this is her baby.
She loves her horses.
She does. She really does. Yeah.
How often does she make it out to the training center?
She comes about once a week. Yeah. She likes to come watch them and video them and take pictures, and she's probably 35 to 40 minutes from here down in Bloomingburg. So she makes the trip up, especially in the summertime when the weather gets better. She's here in the wintertime, even when it's cold and stuff. She likes to come up and see her horses.
How much you been with Solferino?
Solferino's been around 17. He's still a few weeks, probably a month away.
Was there any reason why he's that far back?
Just like I said, he was some balancing issues. He was getting pacey on me and stuff, and I think he was maybe soaring up a little, so I just kind of backed off with him. Didn't train him for a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, giving him time to maybe grow into himself. But he's got some speed. Just a matter of getting him squared away.
And Uncle Peter gelding, Sulfurinol.
Okay.
This is Sophia's Pet Rock, a filly, of course, and I know she's standing out here in the aisleway, but she looks like she's a nice size mare.
Yeah, this filly, she was she's really grown. She's starting to grow and fill out over the last few months, and she's going to qualify on Monday. Actually, her final training was supposed to be this morning till it was raining, so kind of backed that off till tomorrow. She's Pet Rock out of Western Hanover mare. Got high hopes for her.
Have you had many Pet Rocks?
I've had several, Gold Digger King mainly, but I've had several, yeah, and I've had some good ones, I've had some bad ones, but that's a little bit with any sire. But
is there a particular trait that all the Pet Rocks carry?
Mainly the one of mine is seem like they're scared of everything. They're shy from a lot of stuff, not so much on the racetrack as getting to and from the racetrack. Even Gold Digger's that way a little bit. But no, other than that, like I said, the ones that I've had that I like have all, they won a race, they like to seem to race. There's been a few the opposite, so a little lazy, and like I said, that goes with any sire.
Is this a homebred or were
This
you
is
purchased?
no. This filly was #1 in the sale last year at the jug sale, and Carol Kramer owns part of this filly too. But yeah, she was the first horse in the sale down at Circleville last year. We bought her for $25,000, and like I said, we've been in 2-3. We're going to do her final training tomorrow now, I guess, and everything goes good, she'll be qualifying on Monday.
Now, is she staked to everything?
Staked to everything in Ohio. Yep. Pretty much stake them to everything in Ohio. We'll usually one fair circuit for a backup. Hopefully we don't have to go that direction, but you almost got to have that if you need it. So, but with the Stallion Series now and stuff, it gives you a nice option too.
Buckeye Stallion Series, because of the separation, you want to get starts in them, so that's when you send them to the fairs, probably.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you have to get a start in them, especially the 2-year-olds. It's tough to get them raised at Scioto.
This is Sophia's Pet Rock. This is a What the Hill filly, Angel on the Hill. Of course, this is the first crop of What the Hill. It seems like every trainer wanted a What the Hill in their barn.
Yeah, he was the hot item last year at the sale as far as trotters, and they were kind of tough to buy. And we'll give $45,000 for this filly, but she's out of a Cantab Hall mare, I believe. But like her a lot. She's another one a few weeks away. Had some issues with her. Like I said, I'm pretty conservative, backing off with one if I think they need it. And but she's come back. She's training really well now. Probably the best gaited trotter I've got in the barn. She just needed a little time, and we gave it to her. And like I said,
Has she had any problems whatsoever?
No, she hasn't. Just with her, when she just seemed to be soaring up muscle-wise and thing, and the vets, joint-wise and stuff, we couldn't find anything, and they just thought it was just growing pains and stuff. And like I said, I just started for a couple of weeks, jogged her light, turned her out in the paddocks, let her get some sunshine, and she'd come right back around.
I'll tell you, she has many more growing pains.
Yeah,
by the time she's a 3-year-old, she'll be a monster.
Yeah, she's a nice sized filly. She's, like I said, I loved her in the sale, and like I said, she's filled out to be a nice looking filly, and got high hopes for her. It's going to be a little later for her than the ones. All the ones that are ready to qualify actually trained yesterday and had the day off, so you didn't get to see them on the track. The ones that are going to qualify on Monday, other than Sophia. So.
They're probably wondering, why in the world did I have to go out of the barn this morning?
But anyways, she's a nice filly.
Has the weather been pretty ideal this year, training them down?
Yeah, February was kind of a tough month. We thought we had it made when we got through January the way it was, but then February got kind of nasty on us. But overall, we didn't, they do a good job here with the racetracks and stuff. We didn't miss many days, and wasn't too many days you couldn't train. So, yeah, it's
basically, though, you train them in all types of weather because you don't know what you're going to be racing
right,
in.
Exactly. Yeah, I won't train on a punchy, sticky racetrack for the young horses, I should say, the 2-year-olds. I got to worry about their ligaments and stuff.
This is What the Hill filly, Angel on the hill. This is Kick Axe, a Coraggioso gelding. Seems pretty big in size.
He is, and actually he's a June foal, so that's what's kind
Really?
of surprising. Yeah, they just sent this colt to me a couple months ago. The Spartaners group out of New York, who actually owned Coraggioso. This colt was trained on a half-mile fair track. He was having some issues, so they wanted to get him on a bigger track, but they wanted me also to take my time with him being a June foal. But this is one of the ones you did get to see train this morning, and I really like this colt. He's got a great gait. Like I said, for being a June foal, I can't believe his size. But we're just going to take our time with him,
Most of the others are foals of February, March, and April.
Right, yeah. And this colt covers the ground nice. He just got a nice way of going, and that really got high hopes for him. After I got here, I really liked him.
How much you been with him?
He's been in 17 twice, so and we just kind of stuck around, and that was kind of at the veterinarians. They went over him when he got here and everything, and when he's a June foal, we said I'd get him to 20 and leave him there for a little while. So he's probably been around 20 4 or 5 times, and then we went back but he's ready to go. I mean, we're gonna.
When you're dealing with a June foal, you're also thinking of the 3-year-old season as well, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what I say. That's why we're in no hurry with him. This type of horse, if we get him there a little late to get some starts at him, and I'm hoping he's still a stakes type horse, the way he trots and the talent he seems to have. But next year, if you take care of him, he could come back and be a really nice 3-year-old.
This is Coraggioso gelding, Kick Axe. Well, we thank Scott Mogan for being with us and taking a look at his 2-year-olds in training. After this message, we're going to head over to the Jim Arledge stable.
Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. Sugar Valley's lineup of stallions includes world champion Down by the Seaside, Lather Up, the fastest horse in harness racing history, Little Brown Jug champion Well Said, and the newest stallions to the Sugar Valley lineup, Adios champion Catch the Fire, and the son of Hambletonian champion Muscle Hill, Marseille. Sugar Valley Farm, the home of champions.
Continuing on with Freshman Focus, we're now with Jim Arledge here at the training center. And Jim, we welcome you to the broadcast. And your family from the get-go has been involved in harness racing.
Yeah, my grandpa was in it before my dad. He did it for years when I was in high school. And then when I got out of high school, my dad was doing it. I started helping him. And the whole family's been through it.
Did you ever think about doing anything else in the business?
Not really. It's always been in my blood.
Jim, you're a full-time trainer. Did you do much driving in your younger days?
Not very much. I'm more focused on training than I was at driving.
How many horses do you have in the Arledge stable?
At 25,
And how many of those are 2-year-olds?
12.
12. Do you keep horses after their 3-year-old campaign, or do you usually have them sold?
I got a couple 4-year-olds now, but that's about it. I don't keep them very many of them. That's their top of the line. Like, got a couple mares and top free-for-all mare that they want to keep around breed, so we race her the extra year.
It truly is a 2- and 3-year-old business, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all I like dealing with. It's the claiming game is not for me.
Jim Arledge, trotters or pacers?
I like the trotters. I like to hang up the trotters. I like to work with the trotters. Pacers are okay, but you see a trotter developing, you can help develop a trotter a little bit. Pacer, you just put the hobbles on and go.
It seems like most of your owners have been with you for a number of years.
Yeah, I've had quite a few nice owners that have been with me a while.
Mm-hmm. Do they pick out the yearlings, or do you pick it for them?
Usually I pick them all out, and then, I ask the owners about what they would like breeding wise or something. Then I go look at them all. And then after I find the ones that I like, I'll take them back and show them to them.
When you went to the sale this year, were you going to look at the new stallions' offsprings?
Yeah, I looked at a few of them. I didn't buy any down by the seaside. I got one Spirited Dragon homebred, but I've got 4 What the Hills.
Everybody's got a What the Hill. Why did you choose What the Hill?
Something new coming to Ohio, and son of Muscle Hill, something new, good breeding. I liked all their videos. They're such naturals.
I've seen very few trotters this year in this series wearing toe weights, but you've got a couple with toe weights on.
Yeah, it seems I've got two What the Hills that needed a little more weight up front, and then I got a couple that don't. So, but the What the Hills is the only ones I've ever had them on for years.
Years ago, it seemed like every trotter had toe weights.
Used to have to wear a lot of weight. Nowadays, we don't have to use as much weight as we used to.
Is that because the breed has changed?
I think so. It's just more natural gaited now, and they just get over the ground so much easier, especially this year compared to last. The What the Hills, Long Toms, they say I don't have any of them, but they say they're great gaited, which is a son of Muscle Hill. So I think it's just the breeding coming out in them.
Is there much difference between training colts and fillies?
Not really. I mean, you can get after the colts a little bit more, but the fillies, you got to, give them a little leeway and humor them along.
Sounds familiar.
The same way with women. Eh?
You said that. I didn't. What's your feeling on gelding young horses?
I don't have any studs left in here. All mines are geldings. I don't think that any of them hybrids are going to stand at stud right now because they're all young stallions in the state. So instead of wait until it gets hot and the flies are around and stuff like that, I go ahead and cut them in the winter when it's cooler and don't have near as much trouble.
We've got some great young stallions in the state of Ohio. It's going to be rough to come up in the near future with some more great stallions, isn't it?
I think there will be, but I just, these hybrids are going to have to prove themselves before.
Yeah.
And I'm not against not cutting them, but I think a lot of the hybrids need cut.
All of those young stallions have had great racing campaigns, and the breeding has really picked up over the last year or so here in the Buckeye State.
The breed's so good here in Ohio. The sire stake program in Ohio is so good right now. We have, you got the county fairs, you got the stallion series, the sire stakes. We've got so much opportunities for young horses. It's just a nice game for young horses here in Ohio.
What's your thoughts on the process of breaking youngsters?
I broke them all this year. Sometimes if I get real hard ones, I'll send them off, but not very often. Kind of, it comes down to trying to keep your help too. You get down to wanting to break 10 and you got help for 30, you still got to do something with them. So I'd rather keep the help on and break the babies.
I've heard a couple other trainers this year say the same thing. They usually would send them out sometimes, but now with the help situation, it's pretty good here in Ohio for trainers. Going back to having something to do for them.
Yeah, I've got some help at work for me. It's been here over 20 years.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lay people like that off. And
you're almost as old as you are.
Yeah.
Are basically all your 2-year-olds equal in where they're at?
Yeah, most of them have been really good. Most all of them, I think, out of the 12, it looks like all of them's going to maybe make it to the races. But I don't know, you don't know what capacity they'll be, sire stakes or fairs or whatever, but it looks like the 12 are all going to make it.
Yeah. You see a lot of change in horses after they qualify?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how after they race a couple starts, you see some of the ones that wasn't performing real well for you turn into nice horses, and the ones you thought top ones would disappoint you, Yeah.
I want to thank Jim Arledge for spending some time with us this morning to talk about his 2-year-olds and some of the philosophy behind his operation. We're going to head into the barn and take a look at the young 2-year-olds, Ohio breds that he has. Here's a Fear of the Dragon gelding, run with the big dog. How's he been?
Been good. Been here. I've been in 2 minutes with him here, and he's been training real well.
Any problems getting to where you're at?
No, he's been real good all the time.
Now, will he be one that you expect a big change in once he qualifies?
I don't know. He's pretty athletic and wants to go good. So I don't know how much it'll change him, but he's not very big. So we really didn't stake him hard this year. Just hope he develops into a nice colt.
This is Fear the dragon gelding. Run with the big dog. This is a Big Bad John filly. She's one bad mama. Now, is she a bad mama?
She's got a little different ways about her. She's been a little tough at times, and then she's getting better now. And she's matured a lot here late in the last month.
When you first got her, was she that away?
No, she was a little tough to break and a little
Yeah.
tough to do anything with, but
Yeah.
she's getting a lot better now.
Do you have to change things on them to make them better, or
Yeah,
is it
she's
just a growing process?
Yeah, she's just getting used to the routine and growing,
Mm-hmm.
and getting more routine you do, the better they get. And
Yeah. Really, the first year and a half or year and 2/3, they've been basically by themselves, although they're youngsters. So this is all new once they move into the barn.
yeah, you bring them in, you start them from scratch, and they don't know any of this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them learn quick, and some are a little slower learners.
Have you had much success with Big Bad Johns?
Yeah, they've been okay. Most of them's been Ed Tell's Big Bad Johns, but they've been okay.
They turn in to be pretty good racehorses.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them around the race well.
Yeah.
She won her qualifier in 59 on Tuesday.
Pretty speedy.
Yeah.
Is that about what you wanted to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Now, when you say you qualify in 59, what's Jim Arledge thinking? Oh, that's about what?
Like I say, here before I took them down there, I'd been in 2-1 with her, and I don't want to drop them too much, but
Mhm.
59 was a good. We shooting for a 59 mount.
Did she do it easy?
Yeah.
So that speaks volumes that she can probably go a lot more.
Oh yeah, she'll go a lot more hopefully.
Okay. She's one bad mama. This is a Storm and Norman filly. Glow face with a little white there. Storm and Norman has produced some good ones. Is this going to be a good one?
She seems to be decent. So I hadn't had her but about a month, and she come up from Florida. Rick Shout, Jones part of her, and trained her all winter down in Florida.
Have you had any other Storm and Normans?
No, this is the first one. I've
First
had.
one.
Yeah.
So,
She's good gated, does everything right.
mhm.
I mean, I've been here in 13 with her now since she's come up, and she seems like she's gonna be okay.
So when did you get this one?
Probably she's been here maybe almost a month now.
Do you know how much they had been with her in Florida?
They've been in 28 with her down there.
Yeah. So when you got her, do you back off from that, or do you go
No,
right
we
from
went-
there?
We went right on. The first time I trained her light the first time I got her, but then I come back and went in 24 with her, and then back in 18, then back in 13.
Now, how much will you go with her before you drop her to qualify?
I'll probably train her here 2.4, 2.5 before I go.
She eligible for a lot of things here in Ohio.
Yeah, she's eligible for everything here in Ohio, fairs and everything. So it just depends on how she goes.
This is a Storm and Norman filly by the name of Glow Face. Another trotter in the Arledge stable by What the Hill. This is, oh, I love this name, Chug-a-Lug Dan. Gelding. You know how he got his name?
Yeah, he's named after Ed's son, Dan. I don't know if it was from what he does or.
See, there's names behind every horse, and Ed Tell's son is Dan Tell, and they named this one for Dan. Chug-a-Lug Dan. How's this trotter been?
He's doing real good. He qualified the other morning in 2-2
Mm-hmm.
and did everything right out of the 8-hole. Did everything good. So, got
Nope.
pretty
Nope.
high hopes of him. Yeah.
No problems with the starting gate or anything?
None at all.
Yeah. Have they been, of all your horses, been to the gate
Yeah.
before the
We schooled him out
qualifiers?
here one time before we went there.
That is so important with horses, though, is that initial experience.
Oh
And-
yeah, it means a lot. I mean, the first time somebody seen it out here, they was doing everything. But
Mhm.
when we took them aside the other day, they went their nose right up to it and went right on.
How much has he been?
I qualified him in 2-2 the other day.
2-2 qualifier.
Yep.
Fair, Buckeye Stallion Series, Ohio Sire Stakes.
Yeah, he's eligible to everything.
What's your guess where he'll be?
Sire Stakes, I hope everything goes well.
That's
I got
all-
high hopes on him. I really like him. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Has he done everything you want him to do?
Yeah, he's been a dream from word go. He's been all trot.
That's kind of rare, though, that they're
Oh,
that
yeah.
way, isn't it?
I don't think, knock on wood, that he's made a break since I broke it.
Well, good luck with this one. Chug-a-lug Dam. We got Fear the Dragon. We got Racing Hill. Is this a Fear the Dragon or a Racing Hill?
This is a Racing Hill.
Named Dragon.
Yeah. How the Dragon again mare.
Really? Nice filly?
Yeah, she's okay. She's had little problems here and there along the way. She's not as far along as some of the rest of them, but she's getting there.
When you say that they're not as far along as the rest of them, you really don't want to speed up the process, do you?
No, you let them kind of tell you how they're coming, you know. Sometimes I have to back off with them a little bit, and then away they go. You know, you just got to give them a little break.
The whole idea is to have a good racehorse when you want them to be a racehorse.
Yeah, I mean, the summer's so long anymore, you can make money all summer long, so you don't have to really beat on them to get to the first leg of everything, you know.
Has she had any problems training down?
No, she's done everything I've asked her to do. She's got a little sore a couple of times in the knees, a little immature here and there, so we just turn her out for a week.
But those are kind of normal problems,
Yeah,
right?
that's normal things with 2-year-olds.
Yeah. This is a Racing Hill, folks. Now remember that. This is a Racing Hill named Hill of the Dragon. Once again, after a very busy day for Freshman Focus, we'd like to thank Sandy Beatty, Scott Mogan, Jim Arledge, and all their fine help for making it possible to do this broadcast. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Sugar Valley Farms and Eldorado Scioto Downs, and hope that you'll join us next week for our first edition of The Next Generation. Be there!
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by Eldorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday. First post time, 6:15. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.